event because I believe that if we train young people early, it makes things easy for us down the road. So one of the things we do is we do the Train Them Young initiative, which has trained over 4,000 children in Nigeria and Ghana. So we have our in-house curriculum where we try to teach the children basic aspects of safety. And then there's something we also do, which is the School Safety Summit. It's an annual event where we bring stakeholders together to identify the challenges in the school safety system and to fast solutions to them. So these are some of the things that our organization does. Today I'll be talking to you on grooming the future workforce, a case study of the Train Them Young initiative. I'll start with a story. So sometime last year, I was invited to have a book reading session with some children. And I was telling them that some weeks before that, a little girl had been kidnapped from church. And one of the children present raised her hand to speak. And she said, that little girl should not have gone with a stranger without asking for the family password. I was curious, how did she know about the family password? And she says, I've read your storybook before. Now, I know that when I wrote the storybook, the idea was to train the children from scratch, so that they're able to relate it to real life situations. But seeing her make that real life connection, it touched my heart. And that's why I know that what we are doing here is important. Many times, the first time people encounter safety information is when they have to work in certain sectors that take safety seriously, say aviation, construction, and oil and gas. But is that the only place where we need safety? I'm sure we all agree that that's not the case. Safety is actually pervasive. It affects every aspect of life. And so if most times, the first time people are getting in contact with safety information is as fully formed adults, that becomes a problem. It's a problem because you would agree with me that most of the attitudes we took into adulthood were things we learned as children. And so as adults, we are kind of set in our ways. But if from the time we're children, begin to learn how to make safe choices, it becomes a part of us. So say tomorrow the child begins to work in an organization and you say, turn off all electrical appliances at the close of work. Because the child has been doing it all his or her life, it's easy to work with that. So this led us to the Train Them Young initiative. And so what this meant was that over time, we started to visit schools across the country, teaching children basic aspects of road safety, fire safety, preventing molestation, preventing abduction, because we realized that if the children are able to protect themselves, even if there is no adult to protect them, it makes things easy for them. And so we had cases where people would call us to schools. There are cases where we would call to book clubs, sometimes even to places of worship, because adults began to realize that this was actually something good. As a matter of fact, we now have more safety organizations in Nigeria who visit schools now, because of my work, basically trying to encourage more people to know how to stay safe. So one of the things we did is creating the child safety storybooks. So that this is the first copy. We have 3 books currently in the series. And what happened was, when I started visiting the schools and I was teaching them, I initially had this beautiful PowerPoint slides, colorful pictures, and then sometimes video. But I noticed that whenever I told the children a real life story of something that happened to a child in another school, most times it's either they had already heard about the situation or they were more interested because it was something they could relate to. And so I thought, okay, if we're able to put the safety information in story format, we're going to get their attention. And so that led to writing the book. So in the storybook, we have, each chapter talks about a different aspect of safety. At the end, you will have questions, so that children can respond. And then we have puzzles, we have coloring. So it makes it really interesting and interactive to the children. Because the children also like when there's lots of color and when there are activities, So most times when we have this group activity during the sessions where people would work in groups and try to escape from a burning house and things like that, because it's something they can relate to, it's easy. And you find that because it's practical, they do not forget. So it's not boring to them, it's quite easy, and whenever you ask them questions, they are able to answer. The next thing we also created was the school safety poster packs. Something like this. So I have a physical copy here. So now what this does is, we have them placed around school premises to remind children to comply with safety rules. You know, when we say we want people to have a behavior modification, so we're trying to put it in their minds, remind them. This is, don't run on wet floors, for example here, look before crossing the road. You're indirectly placing it in their minds. So whenever they find themselves in a situation and they need to make a decision, they remember this. And so this helps lead them, this helps behavior modification. So the children already know that, okay, I have a picture or something like this. I remember an incident. I went to a school in Abuja, and the children were supposed to come down to have a book reading session with me. And as they were coming down from the stairs, they were all in a straight line, and they were all holding onto the handrail. And we have one of the pictures that says, hold handrails when upstairs. So which was right there. So it was so cute to see all of them filing down in a straight line and holding onto the handrails. And so that told me that this is actually effective. It doesn't have to be too complex. As long as it's simple, it's colorful, it gets the attention of the children. And yes, this is the school safety summit that I spoke about earlier, where we bring stakeholders together, basically trying to teach, because we realize that most times when people decided to go into the education system to have schools, they didn't know much about safety, so it can't totally be their fault. So that's where my organization comes in. We try to bridge the gap. So they don't know so much. We bring the professionals together, and then they learn from them so that they're able to implement safety systems in their schools. Because what happens is, once a child has died in a school, once a child has been kidnapped from school, all hell breaks loose. There is all sorts of regulation, everybody begins to come down on them, but nobody knows if they were even informed from the beginning. And so that's what we try to achieve with the School Safety Summit. Basically trying to teach the teachers, the school owners, how to create safety systems in their schools so that we do not have incidents affecting children. Because really, nobody sends their child to school to die. Nobody sends their child to school to get kidnapped. So we need to be careful about that. And so we decided to create a pilot project, because we had seen the effect of the books, right? But we needed to be sure in more quantitative terms. And so we visited some schools in Abuja. We had public schools, private schools, and the special needs school. The plan was they were going to use the child safety storybooks for a particular portion of the academic session. And then at the end, we're going to evaluate them to see if they remember the things they have learned and how they are able to implement, and also see if they are also able to share it outside. Because one thing we found out about children is when children learn something, they share with everybody, even their parents. We have this thing in Nigeria where the children tell their parents, it's what my teacher said that is more important than what you are saying. So as long as the teacher said it, it has more power than what the parents is saying. And so when children learn things in school, they go back home and they are sharing the information with as many people as possible. So this was what we found. At the time of this report, most of the schools have not completed, but we had focus group discussions with some of the children and teachers, and this was what we found out. Prior to using the book, some children have not had any safety education in any form whatsoever. The ones who had it limited to just certain areas, so maybe the aspect of road safety, a lot of people knew that because their parents would tell them, we have to be careful when we want to cross the roads. But other than that, they didn't really know. Another thing we noticed was the book introduced new learning of different areas they had not considered. So for example, we have a chapter that talks about how to prevent abduction. There's a chapter that talks about how to prevent molestation, and they felt that they hadn't considered those areas as important. And going through it with the books made them see that it was actually important. Then they were also sharing what they had learned with other children outside. And the teachers also learned. This is one of the most interesting things to me. Most of the teachers go through the books with the children, and then they end up telling me that even they didn't even know some of the things the children are learning. So it's also good knowledge for the teachers themselves, you see. So both parties get to learn, and I think that's a win-win situation for everyone. recommendations from the teachers. A lot of the teachers love the book because it's easy to use and effective to pass on knowledge. They also mention other areas that could be added because now they see how it's important, and so they are now thinking of other areas that can be incorporated into the book. For example, they say children with special needs. They actually did this because the third book, the most recent book in the series, talks about a kid-to-kid safety guide for children with special needs. So in the book, we are teaching children how to be more accepting of children with special needs, how to make safe choices around them. Because one thing we found out was some parents have transferred wrong knowledge to their children. Do you know that some children actually think that if they are friends to a child with special needs, they are going to catch it? And that is so untrue, you know? So we need to teach them to become more accepting from now. And when we have when we have that opportunity, you see that they grow with that becomes a part of them. So as we begin to have adults that do not think they are better than people with special needs, or see people with special needs as people who have issues, that does not come in at all. Okay, so we actually need you all, because what we found is that this is a problem that is across the continent. It's not something that is restricted to Nigeria. Because we are part of the world where we are so religious, we'd rather say, God forbid, or it's not my portion, now put safety systems in place. But that is not enough. We need each and every one of us to make sure that this message spreads. We need more children to know, because truly, if we begin to teach children from now, they grow with it, it becomes a part of them. By the time they are introduced into the workplaces, you see that a lot of our problems will greatly reduce. As safety professionals, we all know what we normally say about human error, you know. And most times, why do we even have human error? It's because sometimes the machines might be working just fine, the systems are in place, but the human being does not do the right thing. An accident will still happen. But if we start early to begin to train children, regardless of whatever country they are, regardless of their age, begin to teach them in manageable bits, we'll see that we're going to phase out a generation that does not make safe choices. We're going to have more children who are safety conscious, who see making safe choices as a normal way of life, and do not see it as something so big and just far out there. So, thank you very much. Do we have questions?
Good job.
Good job.
I really like your thoughts, regarding this, and when you mentioned in your presentation to kid with special need, to bring the other kids to for more acceptance of them and no judgment, and that will help building better colleagues at work in the future, because these kids will find themselves together working on a project site or a shop or a company, and if they work better together, they're going to be safer, they're going to be more productive.
Yes. I agree, and that's why it's better we start now, we start early. Yeah. Because if we start early, it helps us in the long run.
And how many years did you say you've been doing this?
Okay, I've been doing this since 2016.
Yes.
Yes.
And you've seen a difference?
Yes. So when we started, a lot of people thought, what is this girl going on about safety? You know, it sounded so strange. But, you know, over time, they started to reach out to me on social media and say, I actually hadn't thought about safety this week until you started to talk about it. But now I see that it's important. So I use social media a lot. I do 60 seconds videos. I create short, catchy pictures. Because I realized that if we're able to make it simple, people would pick it up. And that's what has actually happened, because now, whenever a safety incident happens in Nigeria, everybody's tagging me on social media. They'll say, Safety Chic has been saying it all along. Safety Chic has been saying it. People are not paying attention, you see. So the consciousness has increased. When I started in 2016, it was just a little, but now more people are more conscious about it. And so I believe that the coming years it's even going to be better because they see the importance.
And the website is Safety Chic?
Yes. So I have integrated websites, not more than one, but there is the ulomka.com, which is the parent company that has everything, but also there is the safetychic.com. Once you get to the safetychic.com, you can access this one.
Thank you so much.
I see this will work very well in Kenya.
In Kenya, I'll be happy to come to Kenya, to be honest, because
you will come.
Oh,
I will invite you.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because it's a problem across the continent, really. It's not just something restricted to just Nigeria or to Africa. It's something that really we all need to implement in our various countries. We won't have issues in the coming years.
Actually, when it will be able to work, it will assist the younger generation too much, and the new workforce who will come, they'll be the most safety conscious. For example, I see some places, I'll tell you, in Kenya, a tanker, petrol tanker, has an accident, and you see people, they're running there to get the fuel. I'm like, and what are you doing? So, but one happened, there were some injuries, like 100 of them. They landed, it happened another one, the injuries slowed down to 45. Then the third one, the police were there, so nobody went. So in this, they had to spread messages across the social media and the radios, televisions about that. And about, initially for the school safety, they put a lot of efforts. I'm teaming up with a group of 1,000 plus safety professionals from Kenya. We are discussing this and more others. And my company in Kenya, I will be giving myself to support whatever they'll be doing. Even if it makes me work for 1 year without getting anything for my salary, I want to sponsor everything so that I can work out, and then at the end of the day, we can have a more safety conscious workforce who are coming. When we groom them when they are young, we are good to go.
Yeah. I agree. Yes, please.
Yeah, in U.S. schools, they have been training kids like we saw when they went from bow to run, hide, fight. Is that part of your program?
Okay, so in Nigeria, I don't think we've had a case of an active shooter in school. So what happens is we try to look at our environment and see what are the likely safety incidents that could occur and prepare for it. Although one of the things I tell the teachers and school owners is, in as much as there are certain things that we don't expect in our climate, you still need to be prepared because you don't know, anything can happen. When the Sandy incident happened, I'm sure they did not know that that day a shooter was going to come into school, but it did happen, you know. So even if we see that, okay, we're in an environment where we don't have an active shooter incident, it's still good to have a procedure, and which should be communicated to the students, to the teachers, so that if it were to happen, people would know what to do. So that's one of the things I advocate when I speak with the teachers, that they need to create a comprehensive emergency plan, so that regardless of what happens, they're able to protect the children in their care. Okay. Do we still
Why did you get into that area of teaching about safety?
Okay, so I lost my mom in an accident, and I'm a trained cabin crew first aider, and so I knew what to do, right? But people on the scene did not know what to do. So when I saw the way things happened, that incident with my mom, and then a few years later, I also saw safety incidents like that keep happening, and people were making silly mistakes just because they did not have information, you know. So it just made me think that if people just had a little bit more information, they would know what to do to protect themselves. And so I decided to start teaching about safety, trying to make it simple. But then I also found that adults can be sort of set in their ways, you know. And so I thought, okay, while we are trying to teach the adults, we are still going to try to focus on the future, which is the children. Because if we're able to get it right for the children, every other thing will be fine. So that's actually what happened. Okay. Do we have more questions?
It's a nice smile. It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Can people contact you through WSO?
Okay. Yeah, I guess. People can contact me. Email is gochi@thesafetychic.com. I joined the VSA this year, as a matter of fact. So when an opportunity came to have a presentation, I just thought, why not? This is something that I believe is important, and I believe that more people should hear about it, so why not? And I'm here today. It's amazing. I'm happy that I was able to be part of it this year, and I look forward to being a part of subsequent ones. Okay.